Okay, good morning, and here is today's Substack and some poetry. Okay, today's is called Presence in the Midst of the Ordinary. Awakening is not found in extraordinary moments, but in the willingness to meet the ordinary without resistance. There is a quiet assumption many of us carry that the spiritual journey will reveal itself in flashes of brilliance, dramatic openings, mystical highs, the dissolving of all the inner turbulence. Part of us longs for the miraculous, for the moment when everything finally falls into place. But awakening rarely appears in such grand attire. More often, it slips in unannounced, in the very midst of the ordinary. It is the everyday life, the washing of dishes, the drive to work, the errand at the store, the interruption, the inconvenience, where the deeper truth of our inner world reveals itself. This is where patterns are exposed, where emotional currents surface, where the mind's wheel turns ceaselessly without fanfare or drama. The ordinary becomes a kind of living laboratory, not because it is special, but because it is unavoidable. It meets us everywhere we go. If one pays careful attention, subtle movements begin to show themselves. The quick tightening around discomfort, the small internal protest when plans change, the habit of irritation, the urge to escape, the background narrative insisting that reality should be different. These micro moments, easily missed, are often where the most important work takes place. The spiritual path is not primarily shaped by peak experiences. Those may come, and when they do, they can be beautiful. But they are not where transformation is sustained. The real invitation is to meet ordinary life as it is, not to transcend it, not to wait for something more exalted, but to enter directly into the immediacy of each moment. This includes the domestic details that every human life encounters, the bill that arrives unexpectedly, the appliance that breaks, the child who needs attention, the conversation that stirs old sensitivities. Form is impermanent by nature. Things will fall apart, require tending, demand involvement, but the essential question is always the same. How are we relating to what's here? Is there resistance? Is there struggle? Is there a quiet argument with the way things are? Presence does not ask for perfection, only honesty. It asks for the willingness to see what is moving inside us as life unfolds around us. It invites us to notice where we contract and where we soften, where we argue and where we surrender. To be present in the ordinary is a profound blessing, not because it elevates the mundane, but because it reunites us with the simple truth that awakening is not elsewhere. It is not waiting for a better day, a quieter mind, a more refined self. It is here, in the unnoticed moments, in the humble rhythms of daily existence, in the life we are already living. The extraordinary is not separate from the ordinary. It is revealed when resistance fades, when attention deepens, when the heart stops looking elsewhere. This is the invitation to show up, to meet what is here. To let presence illuminate even the smallest moments. In the midst of the ordinary, the path becomes clear. Not a path that leads away from life, but one that leads ever more deeply into it. And a few poems. We have tried to separate ourselves from our nature as though we are above it, but we are bound by it, and that which we deny and push into the shadows returns in some other form to seek resolution. All things are seeking home. Some are pulled to the surface by life's events, but the quiet one keeps their counsel and goes to the deepest. The real power of the ocean is not in its waves, but in its depth. Life is made of poetry, but we turn it into prose. It is formed of beauty, misunderstood as science. It is the fragrance of the garden. We just give all the flowers names. We turn our search outwards, and our inner world dries up. The human is the only creature who can turn away from their true nature and seek comfort in their turning. Whoever offers themselves wholly to love receives the quiet benediction of grace. Yet life itself may not alter, for grace is never a prize bestowed, but the natural reciprocation of a heart given without reserve. This is called, there is nothing neat and tidy about the spiritual path. There is nothing neat and tidy about this journey. It tears at the seams of who you were, unravels the stories you worshipped, and scatters the pieces you tried so hard to keep in place. It is wild work, holy work, the undoing that frees you. Not perfection, not purity, but the raw truth of being opened again and again until only the real remains. Surrender is the final door, the only door, the ultimate door, the doorless door. When entered, the cloak of the self is left at the threshold. What remains is the essence and the mystery. Last one. Be still and see the world spinning around you. Your healing creates waves of energy that flow out harmoniously into the fractured field. Thanks for watching.